Today, let's talk about personal property within the Florida purchase contract. A mistake I frequently saw agents making in their offers was writing in personal property to be included when the items were already included in the contract's standard language. Items such as the home's refrigerator, oven, and dishwasher were often written in by the agent when they're already here in standard language. What isn't in standard language and may need written in is the clothes washer and dryer, a microwave which isn't attached to the wall, pool or water softener equipment, or anything else of importance to the buyer. Also of note within this section are the words owned by the seller and existing on the property as of the date of the offer. Items which are leased, think alarm systems, security cameras, pool or water softener components, or solar panels, would not necessarily be included because they're not owned by the seller. If the items are leased, the seller would not have capacity to grant the ownership. Knowing there are leased items should also provoke knowledge that you'll need further negotiation and/or the seller will have to deal with a contractual obligation with the leasing company or transfer the lease to the buyer if the buyer is willing before or at closing. Also, the personal property needs to be present on the property the day the offer is written. If there are no hurricane shutters or drapes or blinds or a refrigerator on the property the date the offer is written, then the seller is not obligated to include them in the purchase. It sounds silly, but there have been arguments about this in the past. If items are on the property, which the seller will not include in the sale, the items need to be written on the following line of excluded property. The seller may be excluding the beer fridge or freezer in the garage or the chandelier in the entryway. Additionally, if the buyer wants something excluded from the home sale, they can add that property in the same line. Maybe there's an old broken hot tub on the property that the buyer wants removed by the seller. It could be written here and the seller would be on alert to remove it. Finally, because all personal property conveyed and listed within the Florida purchase contract has no contributory value, it would be wise not to include big ticket items such as cars or boats or a laundry list of home furnishings. Including these items become particularly troublesome in home purchases which require financing. Lenders and appraisers are not auto or furniture dealers and cannot and likely will not give value to these items in the purchase of the home. The lender will also not finance these items and will only lend the amount of money the home is determined to be worth. Should the home be offered for sale furnished, or should the buyer be purchasing the furnishings? Ask your broker how they would prefer you handle the situation within their brokerage. Homes being conveyed furnished, either fully or partially, are wrought with problems, misunderstandings, and fights, which sometimes can result in formal complaints against realtors and litigations between buyers and sellers. Tread carefully. It's a lot of work, but my one tip is to have the buyers and sellers agree in writing to individual items being included or not included within the sale. Remember to have the parties' agreement in writing and signed by all parties. And photos tend to assist well with this task. Because if it's not done beforehand, then during the walkthrough, the buyer's going to be upset that there's missing wall art pieces, or a side table's gone, or the bed sheets are missing. Believe it or not, missing bed sheets are surprisingly a frequent fight within furnished home sales. I hope this chat on personal property within the purchase contract was a big help.